What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of TopiCast. This is TopiCast episode 34. I'm one of your hosts, Daniel, the Professor, I guess Pressure is what they call me.
Professor Pressure, baby.
And then we got Dry the Messiah over here, back again.
Yeah, boy, back.
And we got Long John Silver right here.
Let's get it right. So it's Trey, the long-winded answer. It's just because I like to hear my own voice.
If this is your first time joining us, TopiCast is a conversational podcast. We bring random topics to discussion, and we just see where it takes us. So, like always, you can like, subscribe, and all that jazz. Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and all the other social medias out there. So what have y'all been up to this week?
Oh, it's a big week. Really big week. So, man, I mean, it's been a week of work. It's been hanging out, doing all that. I haven't really had a chance to get on the high seas, play any Sea of Thieves. But we did have some amazing sporting events this weekend, from UFC to Wrestlemania to Ring of Honor. So it was a all-around crazy weekend. I got some new equipment. Boom. So check that out. So hopefully the audio levels are coming through a little better for you guys than not on Twitch. Let me know. Hit me up in chat. Tell me how great I sound.
We will see.
I'm drinking some Bach of the Shiner.
We're still doing it over the internet, though. That's part of the issue.
That's not the issue.
But it will. Poquito, a little bit.
Nah.
Anyways, you been up to anything, Jared?
School stuff. When I've been getting on, I've been playing PUBG. I'm going through another run through of A Way Out, which is a pretty fun game. Wrestlemania as well with John. Watched that. And also I went and saw Ready Player One, and I thought that was a pretty good.
Yeah, you liked Ready Player One? Tell me out.
I did indeed. It was like Wreck-It Ralph. Oh, the baby. It was like Wreck-It Ralph with the references and all the 90s like callbacks and the 80s and even 70s. But in my opinion, it was something that was warranted in the movie, as opposed to like Wreck-It Ralph, where they just like shoved everything in. Just like, oh, look at the nostalgia. So I thought it was pretty good though.
Yeah.
Like giving away any spoilers.
Yeah. So the first lady of House Railsback, winter is coming, or maybe summer, or maybe winter. We do live in Texas, so winter doesn't know anything about that. So the cuteness of the hour, we got that out of the way right there. Proof: nerds do get laid, ladies and gentlemen. So I just got a evil eye and a kick in the chair from the wife, but it's truth.
They know how about you, what you've been up to. Oh, besides, you and me have also been trying to get some Gloomhaven in and some disc golf. So
when we can. But other than that, I've been playing Far Cry 5. And
speaking of Far Cry 5, if y'all haven't had a chance, Friday night we had a free gameplay, free for all basically. Z, who is not with us tonight, but next to my boy Z, having a little bit of an ankle issue. Wish him a speedy recovery so he can get back and hang out with us. He streamed for like 2 solid hours Far Cry 5 Friday night. Some awesome gameplay, super creepy. Reminded me of a guy from Waco, Texas named David Koresh. There's some similarities between what that game is offering and what transpired here in Waco. So, yeah.
Did you catch that the Waco TV show at all that they did on the
I
Paramount
did.
Network or whatever? I thought it was pretty interesting.
I thought it
the
was
the greatest TV show, but I thought it was pretty good.
I thought they made
like 3 episodes, right?
They did 5,
like 6, maybe 5 or 6.
Yeah, I was gonna watch it, but
I didn't.
You know,
and this is personal preference. I didn't like the way they romanticized David Koresh. Like I really felt like they built it into such a thing that they made him out to be such a good guy, And at the
But
end
the
of the
government was like 100% in the wrong. Like, it's kinda,
yeah, like don't get me wrong, man. The ATF overstepped their bounds. And, you know, the FBI had to come in and try to clean up the mess. And at that point, you had a crazy guy with a cult following, with his heels dug in, and the government with their heels dug in. Like nothing good was coming to that situation. But they really, really romanticized David Koresh, and it made me feel uncomfortable as a native Wacoan that actually was here when all that. It
didn't happen in Waco.
No, it happened in Mount Carmel, but
Axel.
yes,
Right
yeah.
next to Axel.
But
Waco.
it might not be Waco, but Waco's the biggest big city, as sad as that sounds, to it. So, but no, I didn't like the fact that they made him out to be such a good guy in that, and I was just kind of like, there was some media bias in there for sure.
I agree.
Yeah. I mean, I've been playing Far Cry. I'd probably give it either a 7.5 or an 8 is what I would give the game so far.
Far
What's
Cry?
better, the Far Cry dog or your own dogs?
The Far Cry dog or my own dogs? Probably the Far Cry dog.
Here's a better question. What is better? Is it Cheeseburger the Grizzly Bear or a cheeseburger?
Actually, I don't play with any companions in that game. I play solo Rainbow style. That's how I play Far Cry usually. I don't need people running around with me when I'm trying to sneak around. But Boomer's pretty good though, the dog, because he just runs around with spots and brings you weapons if you need it. But
they have a
stays
bear.
out of the way. I know they have a bear.
Okay.
Cheeseburger.
Yeah.
But
That's my
it's
dude.
too big. I lit a bear on fire with a flamethrower, and that was fun. And then he chased me, and I died.
So
Everything caught on fire.
Knuckles the
I like how they
cheeseburger.
were making that thing with the dog, like how it was revolutionary, but Fallout did it like before with the game with was it dog meat? That's the dog's name, and you can pet it, and it would go do all the same stuff pretty much. So
Yeah.
Yeah, Fallout.
But yeah.
Fallout had the dog. The dog is cool.
Yeah, everybody likes dogs.
Hey, I'm all about bear. Cheeseburger the bear.
Cheeseburger. Let's see what else. I haven't been doing anything else. I don't think so. So, I guess I'll just get into my topic. Speaking of games, so this past week, GTA 5 has become the most profitable entertainment product ever, counting movies, books, games, which is insane. No, not even that. It's
not counting microtransactions.
So
well, I mean, I'm sure they're in there, but they've sold. I forgot what it was, but exactly. Let me see if I can find it real quick. They sold over 90 million units in its lifetime so far. So
90.
They made $6 billion. They made $6 billion in revenue
for GTA 5.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's impressive.
Now, Minecraft actually have sold 144 million in Tetris, but obviously they're cheaper games, so
right. So
it's made more money.
So are we talking profit? Is that what we're talking here?
Yeah, and revenue.
We're talking revenue or profit? There's
let's see. It says
gross rev or profit. There's a difference.
There's a difference. Trying to see if it says exactly.
They just made this lump amount of money.
Right. I mean, I can.
It doesn't say exactly,
what does it mean, Daniel?
Either way, they made a lot of money.
Right. But I can.
Goddamn game.
I can come on the internet and say that I've got millions of dollars, and if you don't know me, then you don't know if I got millions of dollars or not.
I do know it cost them $226 million to make the game.
Right.
I was about to say it shouldn't have cost less than $500,000.
Yeah. So
and
let's just say they made $5 billion in profit. So
sure.
Crazy.
So we're going with $6 billion.
It's crazy that it beat out Star Wars and Gone in the Wind and all those like high grossing movies. That's
super impressive when we're talking movie box office revenue. Like, I mean, you look at like some of the iconic movies. Here goes the long-winded answer, ladies and gentlemen. Iconic movies like Star Wars or like the Marvel franchises. So that's definitely an accomplishment. Before I get on my soapbox, Jared, do you have anything you want to add to that?
No, I mean I agree. To be honest, I mean it's especially for a game that it was like whenever GTA what like 3 or 4 came out, there were protests at the game stores like by mothers and groups for people not to buy the game that oh it's become this and it's made all this money and surpassed all these records. I mean that's pretty
Yeah.
impressive to be honest.
No, but it was. I mean, it's if you look at the back of the game, violence, sexual content, language, mature content, all the things that are in there, it makes parents steer away from like purchasing the game for their kids. So 6 million is impressive. That is a very impressive number, and I'm not trying to take anything away from that. But that article, Daniel, I love you to death, man. There ain't no chance in hell. There's no chance. There's no chance. And the reason is you can fact check it. And I'm going to mention one company, and it's not the company you're thinking about. Riot Games does not track their incoming revenue.
Right.
Riot Games and League of Legends, I guarantee you, is a more profitable franchise than GTA 5.
And it's not saying, it's just talking about that one game though.
Sure, and League of Legends is one game, isn't it?
Well, I guess.
No, I mean,
It's 6 billion in revenue is what it is.
is it?
Yeah.
So this is the game that's beating it, hands down, World of Warcraft. So I know for a fact World of Warcraft is around the 10 billion mark. And as impressive as 6 billion is, like 10, if I was guessing, 10 beats 6. GTA 5 had some huge hurdles to overcome with the content level because World of Warcraft is definitely not as controversial as GTA 5 as far as what the content puts out. But if we're talking about dollars, I would say World of Warcraft, hands down. And I think that is probably the most revenue. And because it is a monthly subscription game, that could, hey, it's an MMO, it's a monthly subscription. But I have a hard time digesting that GTA 5 beats World of Warcraft or League of Legends for that matter. And you can go to the Twitch homepage. 5 out of 10 times there's going to be a League of Legends tournament going on. Like their League of Legends and Riot have done a great job, and I think that they're right there. I don't know what the number is for Riot Games, but I can tell you World of Warcraft, I think, hands down, makes more money in GTA 5.
Well, I think one reason why those probably aren't in there is because they're still spending money to make those games, and they're constantly making them.
Sure.
So like GTA it's a done product, and
it could be. It could be. I don't
continue to
know.
buy it.
I don't know what the stipulation was on that. I mean, they're definitely, like I said, there's nothing against. Was it Take Two Entertainment and
Take Two
Interactive and Rockstar? Yeah, and I've got nothing, man, dude. Red Dead Redemption, that's a Rockstar game, right?
Yeah.
I love that game to death. I mean, I'm not bashing the company. I'm just saying,
no.
What are we basing it on numbers? Because if we're basing it on gross numbers, not. Granted, World of Warcraft, they do continue to put money in it every time they come out with the X-Pack. I understand.
Well, yeah,
that.
server cost and
Sure, and I understand, but where's that cutoff? That's why I asked you if it was revenue or
actually, I don't
profit.
think it's. Now that we're talking about it, I don't think it has anything to do with microtransactions because you're right. I mean, if you take the service charge that you got to have to play World of Warcraft and all that, yeah, I mean they're constantly making money off of that.
Oh, absolutely.
But off the base game, you're not paying for that. So like GTA, you bought the game and that's what they're tracking. So they made $6 billion off of the game disc, not microtransactions.
Sure.
Nothing like that.
And that's impressive. That's super. That's super
And that's the same
impressive.
thing. That's why League's not in there because it's free to play.
Right, and that's why I'm asking because there are other before I went down this rabbit hole, so to speak. I just kind of wanted to I want to know what we were really getting to the meat and potatoes of because 6 million is impressive, but is it 6 million for the solid media? Because
No, not million. Billion.
Billion. What a okay, 6 billion
with a
with a
B.
with a B, bitches. So I understand if it's 6 billion off of that disc and they haven't put out any updates for it, that's impressive because World of Warcraft wouldn't hold up to that graphically, interactively. After that first run of vanilla World of Warcraft came out, the X packs are what's carried it, and I'm not disputing that. But if we're talking straight money, man, straight cash, homie,
Right.
there, you know what I'm saying? There's other games out there that make more than that.
Yeah, I mean the service charges and stuff. I mean, I'd be interested to see what Blizzard's actually pulling off of World of Warcraft. But
I think that's what you have to look at though is GTA. Their expansions are additional missions to the game.
which they haven't put any out.
Yeah, and I feel like to what you're saying with the expansion packs with World of Warcraft, it's more of okay, this is a base game, but I think the media views those other games as separate game titles to World of Warcraft.
And they
like because you have to buy World of Warcraft
and then the
original game
X-Packs.
to play the expansion.
I agree,
Right.
and they could be basing it on, hey, Warlords of Draenor did this amount of money, and Legion did this amount of money, and we'll see what Battle for Azeroth that comes out. I think it's August 14th, August 16th. One of my World of Warcraft nerds will bash me for getting that date wrong, and I apologize. But are they basing it on that title? Because as a game overall, being a subscription-based game, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of freaking money, people. So, and hats off. Like I said, there's nothing bad to say about Rockstar Games, or Rockstar Energy Drinks for all that matter. But it's just like
Not
that.
the same company.
Not the same company, but shout out to Energy Drinks, shout out to games, hand to hand. Yeah. So this is why I love this. This is where the debate comes in, is because people can have opinions, and so.
And think about GTA too, and just Rockstar games in general, man. When GTA comes out, it's an event. Like people that just play games casually, oh, I'm gonna play Call of Duty this year and that's it, or I'm gonna play Madden. But GTA comes out, people buy GTA. You can go talk to anybody on the street. Hey, you know what Grand Theft Auto is? Hell yeah, I know what Grand Theft Auto is. Not everybody knows what Warcraft is or all that. It's just GTA just breaks through the wall.
So
That's when the best
medium.
online comes too, is at the very beginning of those games, because everybody's just flooding and they're low level and people are just fucking each other up basically.
Right.
But
And Red Dead,
yeah,
Red Dead's becoming that point. I mean, we'll see what Red Dead 2 does this year. I think it's going to be bigger than they think, just because as successful as GTA 5 was.
I mean, they've already announced microtransactions in it, so
so
we'll see what they put in, what kind of gates they put in for that.
So I have to defend a comment that was made, Daniel, and you said GTA holds just as much weight, or holds more weight name wise than World of Warcraft. And I damn near want to put the fact checked image back up behind me again because how many people are subscribed to Warcraft? So you can tell me, yeah, GTA has a fan base, but it doesn't take anything away from that Warcraft fan base. I'm talking about
Right.
all the way
How many-
back to the
What's
RTS
the most
fans.
subscribers Warcraft has had?
12 million. I think the last
Okay,
X pack
90 million.
90.
GTA 5.
So you can't tell me that fan base is less passionate about their game than GTA
No,
the
it
fan
has
base.
nothing to do with
Yeah.
passion. I'm talking about if you go around the globe to the common person walking the street and you ask them, especially if they don't know nothing about games, they're gonna know GTA. They
I'm
might
gonna-
know Warcraft.
I'm going to argue that they're going to know Loktar Ogar. They're going to know For the Horde. They're going to know. They're going to know World of Warcraft. I'm telling you, dude. They're going to know Warcraft. And,
Also,
and
GTA came out for Xbox 360 and PS3 originally, right? And then they
Right.
re-released it for the new consoles. So I mean,
Right.
that's people double buying it also as well.
Right.
So double the sales.
Right. That is some of it. But I mean, it's got to be a damn good game to buy it twice.
Yeah.
I'm not arguing that. And Z's not with us tonight, but I mean, Z's played GTA 5, and I've watched him play it, and it's freaking insane. Like it is a good game. I'm not talking about that, but what I am talking about is the Warcraft fans around the world. Around the world, Blizzard has an audience that would recognize World of Warcraft.
Well, see, I'm not talking about the fans though. I'm talking about the people that aren't.
That's
fans
fine.
That know what GTA is and they play it.
And I'm going to argue back to you that even people that don't play World of Warcraft have kids that play World of Warcraft. Or cousins, and they know about it.
But not 90 million.
It's as far-reaching as GTA 5. I will argue this point with you, man.
People in like China and that kind of stuff have bots and all that kind of stuff. I mean, honestly, that's why Hearthstone is as popular as it is because of the Blizzard fanboys and the backing for World of Warcraft.
But it's not because of Warcraft; it's because of Blizzard.
It's based off World of Warcraft lore. A lot of the stuff in Hearthstone is based off WoW lore.
Almost 100% of those cards. In fact,
Hearthstone could have been anything but World of Warcraft, and it was made by Blizzard. It would be the same.
Maybe, but I think a lot of the.
It could have been Blackthorn, if you know what that is. It's a deep cut for you Blizzard.
Diablo.
Diablo.
Yeah.
So, no, it's successful because it is World of Warcraft characters and lore. Now, I'm being honest with you. You're right. The fan base. So the fan base is super passionate. The fan base will follow Blizzard. It's what they do. It's what we do. It's what I do. I play World of Warcraft. I have, and I will have walked away from it several times, only to been sucked back into what I like to refer to as the digital cocaine, because it is one of the strongest online drugs you'll ever have. Made some great friends in the game. Shout out to my boys in New York. Hopefully they're able to listen and watch. But I've had people come and be in my wedding that I met off of World of Warcraft. Like, the game holds weight, and it is worldwide.
No, I'm not saying it doesn't hold weight.
Right, but
it is a big game.
You're telling me that people on the street in China or Korea,
GTA is a more known property.
We can agree to disagree. I don't want to take up too much of Jared's time on Jared's topic, because I will argue this until we go to sleep tonight, and I really feel that passionate about it.
My viewing of this argument is you have a console person talking to a person who has played PC games. And
GTA started on PC.
It's true.
Yeah,
no, it's true.
Yeah, but
the third-person overhead view. Yeah.
But what I'm saying is Daniel hasn't experienced like games like WoW and stuff like that.
Yeah, I have.
Have you like on a good computer though, or have you download like on like a poop laptop?
No, I've seen WoW and I know the bullshit with it. But
I've seen it, but have you experienced? Just it's not like any like MMO or anything like that.
I played EverQuest and all that shit. Anyways,
so
you're telling me. So answer this question: which one's the more known property, World of Warcraft or Mario?
Mario.
Don't you say World of Warcraft?
Mario. and I
in the call right now.
That's tough. I'm gonna say like Mario, and I'm not. Allegiances aside, Mario transcends. You want to talk about OG?
Mario transcends all.
Right. You want to talk about OG? Like OG? That's Mario. Hands down. And while I have the microphone for a second, this is my Nux to my fam right there. In chat, y'all know what I'm talking about. On the podcast, I apologize. You're not going to get that reference, but people, not Joe, who's asleep right now, but the people have my back in chat. And that's, look, you can be a pro Warcraft or a not pro Warcraft person, but there is no middle ground. You're pro Warcraft or you're not. Daniel is not pro Warcraft. I'm okay with that.
Warcraft 2.
I'm okay, man. Okay, so the RTS is amazing.
2 was the bomb.
The RTS games is where I started. So, I love the lore. Goblins, orcs, humans, trolls. Absolutely. All done. Okay? I mean, like, we can go back and forth on this. You're not pro Warcraft, and I'm okay with that. And GTA is a great game. And GTA is worldwide. Okay? It's not obsolete. But Warcraft is also world known, and I would say, you can put those two side by side any day of the week. I really do. That is far reaching past the point of people that play. They will know what it is because of somebody else, a cousin, a brother, a child, whatever, because of someone else. That means a lot. And the same thing with GTA. Parents are going to know about GTA because the content is so controversial. I'm not getting.
3 came out.
I just don't think you can sit there and say that if you walked up to 15 people in Korea and asked them if they knew GTA or if they knew Warcraft, I think it would be a damn close 50-50 down the middle. I really don't think you're going to get GTA over World of Warcraft.
Right. I mean, the only way to really know, you'd have to ask everybody in the world. I mean, it would be so close. But
Yeah. And it would. We'll get off. I'll get off of that. As you can see, the Twitchiverse. I decided to go old school, and I found a really cool arcade background. I feel like I'm dropping quarters in the games, which is super freaking appropriate considering we had this long argument about console and PC gaming. Two of the greatest IPs, one in console, one in PC, and that's a good debate. Again, that's a good argument, good debate. I'm going to leave it there. Eat a dick, Daniel.
With the modding on PC as well, that's pretty fun.
Yeah.
I mean, you can mod on WoW, but
yeah, you can add on. You can do add-ons in WoW, absolutely. So, you better bring some straight fire, Jared. And after you just heard that, we need to know what you're bringing, bro.
It's been a while, so I've had this topic for the past couple weeks. I just hadn't been able to talk about it. But a couple weeks back, I was going through and rewatching the extended versions of Lord of the Rings, and I was going through, and every time I watch those or The Hobbit, like I'll stop and like I'll have the wiki up and I'll just like pause it and like search stuff that I won't know just to get like more background on the lore, like better understand different stuff. But I was talking to my brother about it, and he told me that apparently Amazon wanted their own Game of Thrones type moneymaker, and so they decided on Lord of the Rings to make a series. Amazon's going to start making a series of that. I think it probably will be a year or two before it gets released, but it was funny because the topic I came up with, I watched Lord of the Rings. I was like, man, if they re-release like a Lord of the Rings, I think I'd be pretty sad just because like it's something I grew up with. And I'm sure that's what a lot of people feel like with Star Wars, like with the 80s stuff. Like that's what they grew up with. So it was hard to see the prequel stuff come up because it was like something they loved. And then they're like, I don't know if I like this as much. But I was like, man, I really hope they don't make a Lord of the Rings. And then my brother told me that, and I got excited at first. And I was like, man, if they look that up, I hope it's going to make me hate it. I'm going to hate Lord of the Rings. So something I was going to talk to you guys about is something that you guys like either growing up or now that maybe you want to show to your kids whenever they're growing up, but like if they do a remake of it, you feel like it would just be awful or something you wouldn't want to see because it wouldn't be as good in your opinion. Like Ghostbusters with women. or Ninja Turtles for Daniel with the new Turtles.
So you just brought up Ghostbusters with Thor.
Yeah, I didn't even see the new Ghostbusters, to be honest, with the women cast. So
I got it for free and I haven't even watched it.
Yep. Still has Slimer in it, if that makes you feel any better about life. But, you know.
No, it doesn't.
Okay, well, that's its saving grace. So keep it in a cellophane. You might be able to sell it later on. Wow.
I got it digitally.
Wow, Jared, that is an excellent question. And I am the proverbial Star Wars nerd. The new movies do not bother me. The Clone Wars cartoon does not bother me. They have their place, and I think they do a really good job extending that universe. Are they going to capture my hearts like a Han Solo or Chewbacca or Luke Skywalker or Carrie Fisher as Leia, God rest her soul? No. But I'm not upset to see them continue that.
Yeah.
So for me, it goes back to the X-Men cartoon. The X-Men
Very much
cartoon.
as well.
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. So, for me, if they ever actually attempted to remake the X-Men cartoon, and I'm not talking about the cinematic universe and all the things that Marvel's done, but if they tried to remake that X-Men, that original '90s X-Men cartoon, I wouldn't want my child to watch it. I wouldn't want that beautiful baby girl. I would want her to watch the original '90s X-Men, the iconic music, the characters, the violence. There's so many like really good things. It's good storytelling at the end of the day. Absolutely, character development. There's some movie companies that could probably take a note away on character development from the '90s X-Men, but it would be the animated X-Men. I think that has such a near and dear spot in my heart that I would kind of be upset if they decided this is something that they wanted to remake, so to speak. So, and there's been many failed attempts on the whole X-Men thing, but that has to be the one for me. And Daniel, I'll hand it over to you so that you can get on your soapbox, because I know it's coming.
I really don't know. I mean, yeah, they redid Turtles, which it wasn't great, but it could have been worse. I don't see them remaking the X-Men cartoon. I mean, they might do
I hope they don't.
X-Men cartoon. They ain't gonna remake the '90s one. I don't see that happening. But they already did Star Wars, and I don't even know if you consider that a remake. They just continued it, really. So I don't know, man. I mean, they're not remaking Lord of the Rings, are they? They're doing spin-off
I think
like
it's supposed to
before
be
and all
more
that.
like a prequel.
The stories in between and all that.
I think probably the stuff like before Golem and all that. If I had to bet, it's probably like the first battle with Sauron that they alluded to,
like Shadow of Mordor and all that.
Yeah.
I tell you, if they remade the Matrix, that could. I'm like, why?
Yeah, because I feel like that's like Keanu, like that's just him. Like whether or not you agree with Keanu as a good actor or not, if you picture the Matrix, you cannot picture that without Keanu. Like if they just stick somebody else in there, I feel like it just wouldn't be the same. And Morpheus, like that, I don't know the actor's name. I can't remember his name. It's
Lauren Fishburne.
Fishburne, yeah. Like him, like he just embodies that. Like that's him. It's kind of like
it's because that's what we know.
Yeah. I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. Remakes are hard. I mean, there's been some remakes, but most, they don't remake it. They just kind of continue it, or I think they're supposed to be remaking. I heard rumors of a Back to the Future remake, and I've also heard rumors of Jaws remake, and I know they're remaking Gremlins. I don't know if it's an actual Gremlins 3 or a complete reboot, but they really don't need to touch Gremlins. I know that for sure. Or Back to the Future, for that matter.
I think Steven Spielberg just does such work. It's hard for anybody to come and try to recreate what he's made already, because I feel like he's a good director in general.
Yeah, Indiana Jones wasn't a remake, but they should have left it alone. And supposedly they're in talks to do another one with Harrison Ford, but I don't know, man. It's hard.
I mean, you can't really his arm in the last one, or was that in Star Wars where he broke his arm?
Broke his back. He broke his back in Star Wars when he was fractured something in his back. Oh, he is.
Because he keeps crashing planes.
Well, no, like one of the ship doors like landed on him or something like that, and like it just straight broke him in half.
Should have been standing there.
So here goes my takeaway from this, right? Anything that touched you, not physically, but okay. Disclaimer. Introvert. Internet. Here's the disclaimer: I'm not physically talking about physical touch, physically, in the physical. Okay. Anything that you're partial to from your childhood, it sounds like that's kind of where we're going. Like, I think we would all agree that G.I. Joe live action movies sucked, right? Like, I think that,
My mom actually enjoyed that.
It's like Transformers.
Yeah, Transformers.
I never really liked Transformers, but I thought Transformers was a bad movie.
It was.
It was bad when they killed Jazz. Like, the first movie, that was terrible.
The first movie was okay, and then after that, it just...
No, when they... Yeah, spoilers, and Daniel's going to get on to me because the movie's like 30 years old. They killed Jazz. That ruined the movie for me. And that ruined the franchise.
You said it before you said
I know. I know. I am that asshole. But it sounds like anything from our childhood is kind of what we don't want people to touch. I mean, so this goes back, like, YouTube's doing the Cobra Kai thing right now, right? Like,
I actually think that's going to be pretty good, in my opinion. I think it's going to be more of a comedy base. Like, it's going to be more of a branch off of it. I think it's going to be its own separate movie. I think that it's going to try not to be as serious as what the original was, even though it was a little lighthearted. And I like that they're doing that. They're keeping it more. I think it's probably going to be more of a comedy base. But
did you know he actually won technically because Danielson did an illegal kick to the face? They stole the trophy from him, man.
Okay, so anything from our childhood, I think, is what we don't want to see touched. So this is going to be an interesting question for our kids, right, Daniel? 30 years from now, what from their childhood is it going to be like unholy to remake or to touch, to redo? Because it sounds, I mean, all of these are things like with the Turtles and Matrix and Lord of the Rings, G.I. Joe, those are all things from our childhood that we grew up idolizing, wanting to be. Man, we wanted to be those characters. And so for them to remake them, it hurts us. I think at the end of the day, this question can be regurgitated to future generations.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And really, like, it's going to be interesting to see what the next generation says. Hey, this is the untouchable things from our childhood. Like, what do you can't remake Hello Kitty Island Adventure. I mean, that was groundbreaking, right? Like, but it's going to be something that they grew up on, and we're going to be the old codger sitting on the front porch yelling at the kids that they're driving too fast. But it's going to be something that's, endearing to them, near to their heart and their childhood. So,
I think the superhero movies will play a lot for them because you know how people are like, well, who's your favorite Bond? Who's Bond for you when you think about that? People, I think down the road will be like, who's your Iron Man? Like who's your Spider-Man whenever you were growing up? Who was your favorite? I feel like that's going to be our generation or the generation below us just because that's just ruling the box office right now. It's just superhero.
I know it's only a matter of time before it happens, but I swear to God, if they remake Teen Wolf, I'm going to lose my mind. I'm going to lose my goddamn mind. Do not.
I'm pretty sure they already have, but it was like a Disney movie, like straight to TV movie type.
No, there was a show on, I don't know, it was on Spike or Sci-Fi or something.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, you're right. I think Spike or Sci-Fi, something like that.
But, yeah, please leave that alone. All those 80 movies, you just need to leave that alone. They've been talking about remaking Breakfast Club for the longest, but it's never happened yet. Hollywood just doesn't have any ideas. That's the problem. They just have to go into the well and...
They're too afraid to invest in the new ideas when they can make a lot of money just doing the same old crap.
Right on.
But don't...
Where the indie films come in.
But don't you
don't
forget about me. That's my one Breakfast Club drop right there. Somebody give me my man card. I need it back. No, Breakfast Club's an excellent movie. Yeah, we're not going to get into
remake Taken.
Which all 30 of them.
Yeah, there's only 3. What they should have called the second one? They should have called the second one Taken Again, and then they should have called the third one something else. Never Taken Me Again. I don't know.
Taken Again for the last time, maybe.
Yeah.
On Netflix, Jackie Chan did like his version of it, but like the the daughter dies. So he's like basically trying to come back. He's like he's the older Jackie Chan. So it's like
Wasn't that what was that called?
it came out recently, like at the beginning of the year on Netflix.
Didn't it come to theater though?
If it did, I didn't see it there. Might have.
I don't remember what it's called. I used to love Jackie Chan movies.
The ones where he talked or didn't talk?
A little bit of both. I love First Strike. That movie was awesome.
Like Jackie Chan is like Chuck Norris to us, right? Like he's a national hero and like monuments and statues. Like we're literally talking about another country's Chuck Norris. So we've got to be careful because that we can make racist comments, but talking bad about Jackie Chan could get us banned on Twitch. So we're not going to talk bad about Jackie Chan, okay?
I wouldn't talk bad about Jackie Chan. He'd beat me up.
Yeah, a lot of people could beat you. Never mind. All right.
Yeah, well.
And we digress. We're heading on to the next and the next. All right. So anybody that actually had a chance to watch my teaser video today on Facebook kind of knows what I am going to speak about. Before I do, I want to remind everybody that we do have a epic showdown, throwdown, barrowdown coming in the near future. This is one of our wonderful teaser promotional photos that we've made for Z and Dirty Joe Sanchez and their fight in Dragon Ball Fighters. So hype train, keep a ear out. Keep looking for this information.
Dates coming soon.
Dates are coming soon, and hopefully what I want to do is I want to have an interview with each fighter and kind of get their readout on what they feel. There has been a ton of trash talk over some videos that have been posted on Twitter and Facebook, so legit animosity, right? Like, you know, we're not building this up. I mean, I think there's some animosity there, and hopefully I can get a sit-down interview with both of them, and you know, we can kind of see where this goes. Sports, and we don't talk about sports a lot. We're mainly a entertainment, gaming, etc. podcast, but this week is probably one of the biggest weekends in sports entertainment, period. End of story, explanation point, stamp Vince McMahon's name on it. Wrestlemania weekend has turned into more than a solo event. I mean, it is a weekend of festivities, events, gatherings, not even all WWE. We have one of the biggest Ring of Honor cards. So we have a lot of the Ring of Honor and New Japan stars that come over and do that. Same town, same weekend, usually a few buildings down from where WrestleMania is. So it's a big weekend. So you're going to get my honest review, and we're going to start. And we're going to start at Friday. We're going to start Friday, which was the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame was a dumpster fire. It was garbage. The speeches were garbage. There was one moment in the whole Hall of Fame that needs to be mentioned. And when the Dudley Boys were inducted in this year's Hall of Fame, they were inducted by ENC from ENC's podcast of awesomeness, Edge and Christian. They did a great job inducting them, introducing them. Their speech was kind of garbage. And then at the end of it, they paid homage to what made the Dudley Boys as far as a WWE fan base is concerned. And they brought ENC back on stage and called up Matt and Jeff Hardy. So you finally got the 6 original members of the first tables, ladders, and chairs match on stage at the same time. That to me, as a fan of that era of wrestling, that was the highlight. All the other speeches, like I said, were snore fest. They were boring. You can skim over a lot of that. And I was kind of disappointed because Mark Henry is from Texas, and being a Texan, I was hoping that his speech would be a bit better. It wasn't. Sorry, Mark, if you're watching our podcast, our Twitch stream. I apologize. Do not put me in the Hall of Pain. But you know, it
Before
was
you move on
it was
from
bad.
the Hall of Fame,
Yes.
what was your opinion on Jeff Jarrett going in? Because I thought he was all right. I didn't think he was Hall of Fame quality wrestler from what I remember growing up.
So
They put everybody in.
no, he's Hall of Fame, but I want to point out why he's Hall of Fame. Okay, so Daniel, you shut your mouth, slap nuts. That's a Jeff Jarrett reference right there. Okay, so sorry.
It's all fake news anyway.
It is fake news. Welcome to the fake news. So Jeff Jarrett was not a Hall of Fame wrestler in WWE. He was a Hall of Famer because he was the first relevant owner of another promotion after WCW was purchased.
XFL.
Daniel, shut it.
So you think I in my opinion and I get where you're coming from the stuff he's done outside of WWE, like in
Well, I'll name drop.
wrestling.
I'll name drop TNA, Global Force
Yeah.
Wrestling. So he went into the Hall of Fame because he actually was semi-competitive to the WWE. It wasn't necessarily, man. I mean, he was in the business for a long time, but did he have Hall of Fame matches? I'm sure he had a couple. I mean, you know, it wasn't iconic. I think they're burying a lot of hatchets. I think there's a lot of people, and we've seen this, especially the past few years, all the way back to, you know, Macho Man Randy Savage. He should, like, Vince swore he was never going to put him in the Hall of Fame, regardless of how great Macho Man was. Goldberg inducted this year. As great of, yeah, Bruno, another one. I mean, so I think they're burying a lot of hatchets, and I think Jeff Jarrett was on that list of hatchets to get buried. Not as much so as Vince is doing, because I think Vince still has some animosity. Same thing with Ultimate Warrior. I think there was some animosity regardless. I think it's Triple H, man. I think Paul's bringing guys back because he realizes Vince is kind of at the end of his rope, and it's about to be Paul's show to run and Paul's company to run. And, you know, he doesn't want old man Vince to leave with any baggage. And I think that's why you see some of these guys that are borderline Hall of Famers that maybe had some beef, and they're getting put in to bury that hatchet, so to speak.
I agree.
So, Saturday.
Yeah, I agree to that though. What you're saying, like I feel like he probably didn't put on Hall of Fame matches like you said, but I figured that they had stopped putting people in for what they had done outside of the WWE once it got past the territories, you know, just because I felt like they didn't recognize it as much, or past WCW, I guess.
Sure.
Because I felt like they always just kind of ignored TNA and never really paid any attention to it, like at least during show, especially whenever TNA tried to do the wars with them with the PKM Mafia and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, Main Event Mafia, man. That's some good stuff. Let's look at the Main Event Mafia real quick. You bring up a great point. Kurt Angle, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Ric Flair, Samoa Joe, AJ Styles. You notice anything about the Main Event Mafia? They're all in the WWE. Half of them are Hall of Famers in the WWE. They, you know, TNA tried some things, and you can't give them flack for that. I mean, was their product great? No. But have they put out some good talent? Absolutely. They had some really good talent. Now, has WWE poached a lot of their top talent? I mean, we just see Ethan Carter III, one of their hottest young guys, in NXT now. So,
well, that was one guy that WWE cut loose because they thought he was garbage whenever they had him originally. They couldn't find a spot for him. Then he went to TNA and started blowing it up. And they're like, oh crap, I guess he was something good. So,
well, and WWE is going to tell you we released him so that he could get better and he could go do the indie scene. They love that word indie, regardless of the promotion. New Japan's not indie. TNA is not indie. Global Force Wrestling is not indie. There are other promotions. All right, they're not wrestling in gymnasiums. They're putting on a product. So the WWE can call that indies, but they go out, they find their own, they develop their character. I think that's where NXT right now is kind of making its statement is, hey, this is where you're going to develop, find your character, hone your skills. And it's more homegrown, and they're not having to reach. That's why some of these call-ups are super predictable, because you can watch NXT and you can see these characters develop, and then you know the call-up's coming. So with that being said, it's a perfect transition, man, because this right here on Saturday night, so we go from Friday to Saturday night. Saturday night is the NXT TakeOver event. It's usually in the host city. It is always in the host city of wherever that major event is. Let me tell you something. Like, I went on a rant about New Japan on one of our podcasts. If you haven't watched NXT, if you have not seen the product that they're putting out, you're missing out. If you're a wrestling fan, you really are. You're missing out. NXT is a amazing product. They are killing it. They are doing great. So NXT, we had some title changes. The two major title changes is we had Ember Moon dropping the title to Shayna Baszler. It was a very competitive match. Was it the best match on the card? No, but it was very, very entertaining. And we also had Andrade Cien Almas, the NXT men's champion, drop the title as well to Aleister Black, who I think Aleister Black is one of the brightest up-and-coming stars that we've seen in NXT since, like, Finn Balor. And I put Finn Balor above Shinsuke Nakamura. So, if we're talking NXT performances, I think Aleister Black can be right there with Finn Balor as far as his performance is concerned. So we dropped two titles and we introduced a new title. The new title, the North American title, was a ladder match, and it was bloody amazing. That if you watch one match from NXT TakeOver, you need to watch the North American Championship match, the ladder match. And this goes back. A Bullet Club member, Adam Cole, baby, won the ladder match, and it was a great match. And EC3 was in that match, and you had Killian Dane, EC3, Velveteen Dream, Lars, and Adam Cole. And Adam Cole, the Undisputed Era, ended up winning the match. They put another title on the Undisputed Era, but great match. And that is my go-to. If you're going to watch a match from WrestleMania weekend, I'm not telling you to watch anything from WrestleMania. I'm going to tell you to go watch that ladder match from NXT TakeOver. That match right there, to me, stole the show the whole weekend. It stands. Ladder matches are fun, but it stands on its own. Really, really well put together. Everybody went above and beyond. It was well played out. And we put another title on a New Japan guy. So, I mean, I'm okay with that. You get a chance. That's my recommendation for Watch of the Week, baby. Baby. Now then, the big dog, the event to end all events. This is the Showcase of the Immortals, as WWE likes to call it, in New Orleans at the Superdome. Amazing stage. You can see behind me that's kind of the entrance. The production value is off the charts. The card.
They had pyro finally.
They finally, and indoor, and that was the thing I was concerned about, was indoor pyro. We've seen pyro from the top of, like, the scaffolding above the ring in, like, New Jersey at MetLife, but we haven't seen indoor. We haven't seen it from the stage inside, and the Superdome is a closed dome, and so that was cool. Brought back kind of an old school feel. Card as a whole, not as much of a dumpster fire as the Hall of Fame speeches. It's super underwhelming. So I'm going to give you the matches I enjoyed. There is a short list. Okay, so I would say that the Charlotte Flair Asuka match, performance wise, amazing. That was the second best match of the night, if not the best match of the night. The women went out there and stole the show. They tore the house down. It was a great match. I won't give you the results in case you haven't seen WrestleMania yet, but definitely that's a match to watch. Now, a match not to watch was the main event. That was the worst match on the card because it went 20 minutes too long, 10 too many finishes. WWE broke its own rule of no color. So that match was a dumpster fire. Made no sense, did not elevate the storyline, and did not put either performer in a better position going into Monday night. The only match that's arguably worse than that, kills me to say it, is the Undertaker John Cena match. It was a spot, it wasn't a match. It was 3-4 minutes, finish. Taker didn't have anything in the tank. Love Taker to death. One of my favorites, childhood hero. He should have retired 2 years ago. After the Brock Lesnar match, it should have been done. He shouldn't have attempted. He looked bad. He looked old. He looked slow. John Cena missed a couple spots in that. I felt rushed. The story felt rushed, and it was super predictable. So that Taker match and the Brock Roman Reigns match, worst matches I've seen in a long time on a WrestleMania card. The Asuka match, the Asuka Charlotte Flair match, was amazing. I bring up Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles for the sheer fact that it was okay, but it wasn't great. They still held back a little bit. They haven't unleashed the full Shinsuke, AJ, New Japan grit. I don't know that they will. This was what I thought they had the opportunity to really kind of get out there and do some extra innovative things, some things that people haven't seen on WWE television, and they did not. They kept them under wraps. It was well put together. It was well performed, but it was not as gritty as I was hoping it would be. Hands down, best match was on the pre-card, was on the pre-show, and it was the men's Battle Royal. And the only reason is because Bray Wyatt returned. So, Bray Wyatt returning to WrestleMania, Bray Wyatt returning, period. One of the best big men. He's a bigger guy, performs well, very agile. I've been a fan of his for a long time. Don't care for the gimmick. Don't care for the Bray Wyatt Eater of Worlds gimmick. Performer, the dude can go, man. The dude can get it. I'm down with that. The winner of the Battle Royal was none other than Broken Matt Hardy, who was not obsolete, who did not get deleted. He actually won the match. It was a really good match. It was well put together. And it was a match that should not have been on the pre-show. This is my issue. The best match on the whole thing was in the first 3 hours when they do this stupid 6-7 hour show. And it was the Battle Royal, which was literally, I think, the first or second match of the whole card. And it was the best match of the night. So I'll let Jared, I know he watched it. I'll let Jared kind of rebuttal what he thought versus me, and then I'll kind of wrap up with where I think they're heading as we go to the biggest show of the summer.
Okay. I'll talk about it a little bit. I won't get too much into it, but just kind of the highlights that I saw. Because a lot of the points that you made were a lot of the same stuff that I agree with. Going on the the Asuka stuff. I like that they have her talking, but I still think that she probably needs to get more comfortable with it, / maybe get more comfortable with the English language. because I think the aura that she puts off, her gimmick, and the way that she wrestles alone can make up for her not having to talk on the microphone. Just because the energy she has on the ring, the way like she'll scream, she'll shout, she'll stomps her feet. Like she's not one of those wrestlers that goes into the ring and like Randy Orton, where they're almost doing a dance in the ring because it's so choreographed, as opposed to somebody going in there and having passion and having the fans, and you could tell that they're feeding from that. So I like her as a wrestler. I like what they're doing, but would like I don't know if that's something that she wanted to do in respect of Flair, to showing more respect to her as to doing that, or if that's something that WWE is making her do. But I think that that's something that she could probably improve on, and if she does, I mean, she could really blow it up. In my opinion, it would be potentially like the Lita of this era, in my opinion.
Sure,
Uh,
but you can look at Shinsuke's the same way. Shinsuke has zero mic skills. Like Shinsuke is tough to understand. They would be doing some. They would be helping those two out if they were to actually give them a Paul Heyman style mouthpiece, somebody else who could speak for them. Because Brock's terrible on the mic, and that's what they did. They put Paul Heyman with him and let him do his thing. If they were to do that, I mean, give them a manager, give them someone a mouthpiece. I think that the sky's the limit for those two guys, guy and gal.
I agree. I agree. The next part, just because I didn't really get into the pre-show, just because a lot of the WrestleManias in the before have burned me on the pre-shows and all that kind of stuff. So I just try and watch the matches I've been interested in. Daniel Bryan return match. Crowd was hyped for it. I think it wasn't as big as it could have been, but I think that they made it a tag match, so Daniel Bryan did not try and steal the show and go overboard and hurt himself again, in my opinion, just because it's his first match back, so they're trying to ease him in. The Ronda Rousey match was pretty good. I expected that to be a shit show from the beginning, and I think me calling it good, not saying it was a good wrestling match, it was better than expected, because especially with Angle going in, with Angle with the alcoholic back history and him getting clean and him still having all those neck problems, and he came in and still looking great, in my opinion, for his age. So I thought that was pretty good.
So,
And I feel like they carried the match pretty well when the ladies couldn't do it as much.
so let's talk about Rousey, because I mean that's the elephant in the room when it comes to WrestleMania, is Ronda. I agree. So Stephanie McMahon is not going to put you over. She is not that kind of worker. She's not her husband. Triple H will put Angle over and make sure that there are spots where Angle's weaknesses do not shine. And he does a great job of it. Stephanie doesn't. And you could tell, like, Ronda she'd been in the gym. She'd been working before she got to WWE, before the WrestleMania appearance, or the Royal Rumble appearance. Her bumps, she was hitting the ropes well. She was taking bumps really well. She's put in work. And all that tells me is that she's actually taking this serious, and it's not a cash grab. Like, she cares about what the business thinks about her. I mean, she missed some spots, yes, and she didn't have an opponent that could carry or hide those weaknesses. But she had some amazing spots as well. Some spots you wouldn't expect out of someone making their in-ring debut. So, hats off to Rowdy Ronda Rousey. Like, I thought it was going to be a shit show for the sheer fact that you had somebody with back and neck problems, and you had somebody that last relevant action we saw her getting knocked out, viciously knocked out. So for her to come back and kind of erase that and perform well, and perform to a point that, like, hey, she's put in some work. So that Ronda Rousey part of the match itself was well
And
done.
to your
Well
point
done.
about going off the ropes, like you making it sound like it's impressive for the women's wrestling, it is impressive for especially for the new people coming in, because coming off the ropes is something that is something you're just not used to. You're not just used to just running and turning and just going up against ropes and coming back. And a lot of times when they bring in these new people, because either A, they look good, they look like NFL linebackers, or they look like Barbie dolls, and they bring them in like Kelly Kelly. She was in the business for what, 3 to 5 years, and she
Yeah.
could go off the ropes, and it still looks like her first time. And Ronda, it was one of those deals where when Stephanie threw her into the ropes, you're like, okay, we'll see how. Like a lot of the people I feel like who are watch wrestling a lot, it's like, okay, we'll see how this goes. And she came off of it like she had been doing it consistently all her life almost. I mean,
She,
not necessarily like a natural, but it looked like she did somewhat was natural, like something
she
basic like that. So,
she's put some work in.
mhm.
And I think that that's the takeaway is that it's not a joke. And like she is literally put some work in. I mean, you don't hit the ropes like that. You don't take bumps like that. You don't do hip tosses like that unless you are practicing that. And it's not a, hey, this is from the, 3 months from the Royal Rumble. She's been doing it prior. You don't do that. You don't learn that kind of stuff in 3 months. I mean, we've got people in NXT that still can't do that. I mean, she's putting in work, and that's what I mean. I guess the bright spot is, as much of a name that she is, she's taking it serious, and this isn't just day off. She's working.
Mhm. Okay, so I guess the last two things I'll touch on are the Undertaker main event. So the Undertaker, I mean, I thought it would have been funny if they just would have kept John Cena crowd the whole WrestleMania, and just like him just like getting drunk with fans and chilling. Like I thought that would have been cool. But like the whole point, it was just kind of cheesy. The referee, oh, he's here, and he came out. And I honestly, I think that it was more Cena's going to do movies, so he's going to be out for a while. And I honestly think that might have been a type of deal where Undertaker might not be able to do it anymore in terms of his body. So it's almost kind of like John Cena laying down for him as a clean win in case it
At
ever comes
WrestleMania.
back again.
Yeah.
Yeah, in case they have to induct him next year because of injuries or something like that, and he can say he went out on top, and John Cena laid down for him. He'll have a sweet speech. Oh, I laid down for him, and he'll get the credit and all that stuff. So,
So you know who won that match?
hmm.
Elias.
Yeah, I think it's hilarious when he comes up.
Oh, so he,
Wait,
you want to talk about over? Elias is over. Whether you
yeah,
agree, disagree, hate my comment right there. Elias got more out of that spot than either Taker or John Cena. So, no offense. WWE stands for Walk with Elias for me right now. That is one of the most entertaining guys on the card.
but yeah, so I guess to wrap it up with the main event, because if you were going to talk about going forward, uh, I think a lot of people were surprised that Brock won, just because I think they thought he might have been leaving, not resigning. But my friend texted me earlier today that I guess he's already signed with UFC to do a fight. So apparently, and I might be wrong on this because of new information, but Royal Rumble might be his last pay-per-view for a while.
So he, I don't know if you remember, but he did go back to the UFC and fight once while he was under contract with WWE. Granted, he pissed dirty at that UFC and got that win taken away from him. But
I watched that one, yeah.
but he's doing a dual contract, and that's another reason that it was so important that you saw Dana White, not because of the Ronda Rousey thing, but front row WrestleMania, because it is a co-branded Lesnar. WWE is going to continue to use him the way they're using him. He shows up when he wants, which is scripted, and then he makes his pay-per-view appearances. In his downtime, he still has that competitive fire and is going to go do combat sports in the UFC. So it is a dual contract. A lot of people thought he was dropping the title because he was going to go back to the UFC full time. Whatever. Dude's made enough money. Let's just be real. He doesn't need. This isn't a cash grab for him. He obviously still has that desire and that fire to go and do combat sports. So he's doing the entertainment thing and combat sports. I think wrestling is his movies. If you really look at it for Lesnar, this is
I think
his.
wrestling is also his payday as well. To be honest, I think he enjoys fighting, and UFC is kind of like freaking what's his name, CM Punk. Like right now, fighting is his passion, and he views wrestling as this is something I also enjoy, but I'm making a lot of money just to show up and not get hurt as much. So I'll do that as well.
Sure. Yeah. No. I agree. That was well thought out and well put points there by you, Jerry. So before we let Daniel speak again and wrap it up, he's over there hopefully managing our social media pages. But this is where, like, going forward for the WWE, there's a ton of questions. What do we do with Asuka is my number one burning question as we get ready to start positioning ourselves for SummerSlam. Because SummerSlam truly is the next big event. I think some people will say Survivor Series. I believe Survivor Series falls before SummerSlam, but SummerSlam is the next big event. What do we do with Asuka? We built up this huge run, this huge undefeated streak. Now we're not to that point. Now we're past that. Now where do we go? Are we going to work towards a marquee Asuka lock versus armbar? Like, are we going to try to work it in? Which would be great to see Rousey versus Asuka. I don't think it would hurt either character as long as they put the path together right. They can't just throw it together in the last 3 weeks like they did the John Cena Taker thing. They need to cultivate this and develop it. The Superstar Shakeup next week, where they reshuffle the rosters for Raw and SmackDown, I think it's going to have a lot to do with it. You have Seth Rollins with the Intercontinental title. I'm hoping that they leave that on him for a while. I would like to see a Seth and Finn Balor rivalry renewed, maybe where they turn Finn finally. If they would put Finn as a heel, I see that matchup working out really well. I do think eventually the title has to come off of Brock Lesnar. We had some returns on Monday night. Samoa Joe being Bobby Lashley is a joke. Samoa Joe, okay? Samoa Joe is who I would like to see pull that title off of Lesnar. We need to get the title into someone that's beatable and believable. Right now, they've put Lesnar as such a huge guy that it's going to be hard to have somebody pull the title off of him. I think Samoa Joe could be that guy.
Three-way or four-way match, I think, is probably the way to go with something like that. So that way, the title can be changed without Brock Lesnar being pinned and losing his bad guy, big bad guy.
That would make sense. Lastly, we have a major issue, and I love Braun Strowman. God, I love Braun Strowman. What in the hell are we doing with the tag titles? Like, the Raw tag titles make 0 sense right now. Like, the bar, they threw them together. They did well. They put the titles on them. I don't know whose post-toasties they pissed in for them to pull the title off of them with a 10-year-old as Braun Strowman's tag partner, but it doesn't make sense. And that is the last title that I think they need to put into kind of start the wheels now, is what's going to go on in that tag division. It should be the hottest division. It has the potential to be the hottest division. Revival. Give it to Revival. That's my plea. AOP. Revival, AOP, SummerSlam for the titles. I love that idea. But they have a stacked tag team division, and they have no idea how to position it. So going forward, that's where I feel they need to shift their focus a little bit, especially with Raw. We were broadcasting tonight during SmackDown, so I didn't watch SmackDown. I'm sure AJ is going to be over. Shinsuke going heel. They're going to continue that rivalry, and it'll be great. Other than that, Carmella needs to cash in the Money in the Bank thing and be done with the women's stuff. And you know, we'll see
I
what.
think a lot of people were disappointed that she didn't cash in.
I
Other podcasts I've listened to, they were kind of expecting it, but
I'm kind of
it
glad.
opened the door later on for more storylines for them to actually build on it instead of, because honestly, like that's too played out in my opinion. Edge used it up so much where it was just like run in and spear somebody, or run in and literally just hit him with a chair and then ring the bell and then pin him. Like that's done so many times. Like it's just nice to see somebody like come out at the beginning. And I think maybe Daniel Bryan did it, or somebody. They come out like right at the beginning and they're like, all right, I'm gonna, at the next pay per view, 3 weeks, 4 weeks down the road, I'm cashing this in for a pay per view thing, and it allows them to build a feud and build interest in it, as opposed to just saying, okay, well, somebody wins and then they just get shit rubbed in their face because somebody's going to come out real quick and be
The
it's no, basically.
Yeah, so they're going to lose the shock value, which is fine. I mean, the shock value, the Seth Rollins music hitting last time they were in New Orleans or whatever when he cashed in, that's fine. I mean, I'm glad they didn't cash it in. That would have been another freaking predictable thing the WWE did. So good. At least they didn't make the whole damn card predictable. They, left Carmelo with Money in the Bank. I guess that's my takeaway. God, I can't believe that was an actual takeaway. Anyways, Daniel, wrap us up.
Wow. That's wrestling for you guys. I don't have much to say. We'll be on Twitch on Friday. Somebody will be. We're thinking Joe, but stay tuned for that.
Tentative Joe texts me, wants to do our live stream Free Play Friday. So look forward to seeing Joe Beta play whatever the hell he wants to play on Friday night.
Yeah. Like always, hit us up on all the social medias. Spread the word. And this is TopiCast episode 34. I'm Daniel. That's John. That's Jared. And we're out.